All right, so it's going to play this, and then it's going to destroy it. So let's go ahead and test it out. And let's go. Oh, that's right. It's not working because it doesn't have it has no whatchamacallit. It's nothing to trigger it, right? So what I got to do is basically add that onto it. So I'm going to add component, and we're going to do physics 2D, and we will do, oh, I'm sorry, not physics 2D, just physics. Let's do a box collider, and I'm just going to adjust the size of it. So, oops, and I'm going to hit edit collider, and we will go ahead and I will grab the bottom here to the bottom, grab the front to, try this again, right there, edit collider. And we'll grab the front and pull that there. And we'll grab the back and pull that there. Now this is obviously not very accurate. You'd want to do more of a, pull this up a little bit, different hitboxes and things. But we're going to do this kind of simple. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to make it is trigger. And there we go. Okay. Then we'll hit that. And we will see if that now works. Boom. And it's not triggering. Okay. Alright, so the reason why it wasn't working is that, watch, if I go and I shoot this, you can see right underneath here, it says the variable anim of death script has not been assigned. So I haven't assigned the animator component, so all I'm going to do is grab the rea anim, which has that animator component attached to it, stick it on there. So now that works. That's attaching it to the death script that's attached to the enemy. And now, when I go to play this, you'll see if I shoot it, boom, it falls, it dies, and it will eventually fall away. Bam! Beauteous. Okay, good. So now it will, I can shoot it, it falls down, and it dies. Hooray! Okay, so I'm going to save this, because we're doing pretty well. We got it all kind of working. Now what I need to do is basically set up to make this thing get spawned, okay? So what I'm going to do is, there more needs to be done to this. But I'm not that concerned with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the enemy and I'm going to drop and drag into here. So now it becomes a prefab. And I'm going to go ahead and delete it here. Okay. I'm going to create a empty. And I'm just going to call this a game controller. Okay. And basically what this is going to do is I'm going to use it to spawn my character. And I'm just going to take it. Well, there it is right there. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go to Assets, I'm going to go to Scripts, and I'm going to make a new script, and we'll create, and it's going to be a JavaScript, and we're going to call it enemy spawn script. Boom, boom, boom. Wait for it to wiggle and jiggle, and good. I'm going to drop that onto the game controller, and I'm going to open this up. Okay. Boom, here it is. Alright, so first things first, I need the variable that's going to hold my enemy. So we'll just call this variable enemy, and it's going to be of a type, obviously it's a game object, which is obviously going to be the rea in our case, but it might be something very different for you. Variable spawn time. So we're going to go ahead and set that to, I'm going to give it a default of 3. So it's just how often it spawns. Alright, now we're going to need a variable for the spawn values. And basically this is where it's going to spawn. So spawn values, and it's going to be a vector 3. Because obviously it's a XYZ. I'm going to do a variable spawn weight, which is the time between each spawn. And we'll set that equal to 5. So float 5, and then we'll do a variable add to spawn, which is just to add more time to it. So float, and that's fine, and that should be fine. Okay, so on the function start, I'm just going to go ahead and execute a function I'm going to call spawn, which is just the thing that's actually going to do the spawning. So we're going to call it spawn. That's the name of the function. And I'm just going to change this to spawn. Spawn. And what we're going to do is I'm going to say while end game is not equal to true, which I didn't actually make this function yet, or this variable. I'm just going to go ahead and make a variable called endGame. Variable endGame, which that should have been, I didn't camel case that correctly. Endgame, and it's going to be a Boolean, and we're going to make that equal to false. All right. Boom. Okay, so we're going to say, well, endgame is not true, so it's not the end of the game. I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to make a variable called spawn position. And I'm going to make that a, it's going to be of a type, oops, sorry, let me do it like that. There we go. So we have type vector3, and we're going to make a new vector3, and I'm going to make it random dot range. So it's going to be in a random range of minus spawn values dot x and spawn values dot x. Okay, and I'm just going to do kind of, then it's going to be spawn values dot y, and then it's going to be kind of like before, it's going to be minus spawn values dot x, or sorry, dot z. Oh, sorry, actually this should be random range, random dot range spawn values z, and then spawn values dot z. Okay. All right. And then variable spawn rotation, and it's going to be the type of quaternion. Oops. Put minus there. I meant to do this. Quaternion. And we're going to go to quaternion dot identity. That just basically makes it like a default. Okay. So what we did up here is that, you know this value I put up here of spawn values? What I'm going to do is I'm going to say when I'm in here, I'm going to have to look at this, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go from above, and I'm going to say, okay, the range is going to be from this to this and this to this. So I could say from, you know, this z to this z and this x to this x. The y I want to be whatever. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is I'm going to make it that it has to fit within this cube. And so I'm going to say 3, right? So if 0's here, and, well, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4. So see, there's 4 pieces here. So I can say, okay, from 4, I'll put in my spawn value of, let's say this is, this is z, right? So I'll say 4. So it'll go from -4 to +4 will be the range. And then I could say, okay, positive and negative x. So it'll be positive to negative x. And basically, it's going to randomly select a range in here. The y I want to be level. So that's why if you look, I just did spawn values y, but the other ones I did random range. So it's going to be somewhere in there, and that basically this is going to be the spawn position. I want to randomly choose a position. So then I'm going to do this dot game object dot transform dot position is going to be equal to spawn position. All right, so this is what I need to have happen. I know that I can randomly make it these directions, right? I can say, okay, more or less, this is kind of a square. The problem I'm going to run into is that I can say, okay, spawn it here, but then the creature is going to drop from the air, and it's going to hit down here, right? Because I can't say, okay, randomly within a range up and down, because anywhere up and down, if I spawn it up here, well, it's in the air. If I spawn down here, well, it's under the ground. So I need it to actually touch the ground when it's being spawned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually tell the game controller here, this little object, I'll pull it up here. We'll put it up here. This is fine. It actually needs to be up in the air above it. So just make sure that it's above everything, that nothing is higher than it. I'm going to tell this to move where that random spawn position is based on this grid. And then I'm going to tell it how far down to spawn. Okay, so you'll see in a second. Okay, so I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the game object itself, which in this case is this thing, and it's gonna move this to those different locations, the randomly spawned locations. Okay. Then I'm gonna do spawn position dot y. We're gonna set that equal to height, and this is going to be a function that I'm going to create. Okay. Height. Alright, so that's a function. So it's going to run this function, and then I'm going to do a function called height. And what this is going to do is it's going to find out the height of, crap. Okay, it's going to do a variable, hit, and this is actually something that like might be raycast. Raycast hit. So it's going to create a variable hit that's a raycast, and then it's going to say if the physics dot raycast, if that raycast transform dot position minus vector 3 dot up and hit. Okay, it's going to variable distance to ground. It's going to be equal to hit dot distance variable y position, which is going to be a float. It's going to be equal to this dot game object dot transform dot position dot y minus the distance to ground, and you are going to return the y position. Okay, and then after that we will instantiate, which is going to be the enemy, obviously, and then the spawn position, and then spawn rotation, and then we will yield, wait 4 seconds, unless it's Thanksgiving, then we never wait, spawn wait. Okay, and then we will spawn wait plus equals add to spawn. And I will save that. Okay. First, let me see if there's any errors on this, because I'm sure there's a lot. Okay, so console, it says 27. It found that. It was looking for something else. Okay, let's look at 27. Oh, I didn't put parentheses here. Okay, good. Hit save. Let's look. And 36, it found something weird, so 36. Oh, add a little something extra that made no sense. Let's go back here. And the name of raycast head does not know valid type. Okay, so 3619, did you mean? Alright, so 36, raycast hit. Oh, I put a capital C in there. Oops. Raycast hit. Ah, that makes sense. Yeah, but it did unknown never add to spawn. variable add to spawn.